is Allison Henderson, and I'm going to be talking about the Day of the Dead and their culture. Through years of tradition, Mexico believes that on this same day every year, their deceased loved ones come back to visit them. It's called Dia de los Muertos, and it is celebrated from October 31st at midnight to November 2nd with food, parades, costumes, and sugar skulls. On this day, the living go to their graveyards and clean the graveyards off. They pick weeds and clean their headstones and stuff. They eat, they sing, and tell stories about their dead. They bring flowers, candies, and their favorite foods. Though many people think that the Day of the Dead is the same thing as Halloween, they actually differ greatly. Unlike Halloween, the Day of the Dead symbolizes life and respect for the deceased rather than just dressing up and getting candy with no deep purpose. I actually learned about this topic in Spanish, and it struck my interest enough to do some research on it. And there are many traditions within this holiday that include sugar skulls and food. And first we will talk about the culture regarding the foods. Specific foods are prepared and offered to the spirits of loved ones. The most common one associated with Day of the Dead is Pan de Muerto, and it is the bread that is prepared and eaten during the Day of the Dead season. It's an essential element of the altar and perhaps the food item which is most closely associated with the holiday. Salt is considered the spice of life, so they also use a lot of salt in all their foods that they prepare for this day. And while I was doing research, as Trip Savvy said, although the type of bread that is designated Pan de Muerto may vary regionally, most commonly it is round, slightly sweet bread flavored with anise or citrus and decorated with shapes on top which are suggestive of bones, often either sprinkled with sugar or sesame seeds. And some believe that the bread represents the deceased loved ones. And it is said that whenever the holiday is over, all the leftover food is eaten by the living. But it's also said that it's lost a lot of their flavor because the reason that they create the food and offer it is on this day when all their deceased come back. It's said that they get all the essence out of the food, so whenever they go back to eat it, they say it's lost a lot of their flavor. More popular foods for this day include hot chocolate, fruit, candied pumpkin, mole negro, and tamales. Sugar skulls are another common food on this special day. Though sugar skulls are edible, they aren't typically eaten on this day. They're used more as a symbol or part of the offering. They not only make the sugar skulls, they also dress up as them too. They crowd in the streets dressed up in costumes as skeletons and lots more. Ofrendas are altars made in private homes, public buildings, and museums that are used on this specific day to welcome the spirits of loved ones and their offerings. They use these altars to set their sugar skulls, food, etc., and as offerings. Since some graveyards started closing early, as time went on, they started closing at midnight. So then on this day, they didn't have the graveyards to go to, so they started creating these altars, and they would put them inside their homes and stuff so that they would be able to do their offerings and stuff in the privacy of their own home. Papel picado. It is the paper that you'll see a lot of times on the altar. It literally translates as pierced paper, and it's this beautiful craft paper. Most of the time it comes in, or they make it in bright pink, and they actually they have a hammer and a chisel point to make the designs out of it. And in my Spanish class, as I mentioned earlier, we made our own version of our sugar skulls, and whenever we learned about the Day of the Dead. And this is what they look like, but this is black and white. They're more colorful. And through this tradition of the holiday has remained throughout many generations, it still continues to ever so slightly change. However, it also has become way more popular than it was back in the day. And as UNM.com stated, the Days of the Dead are truly a celebration of life, when children dance and caricatures of death, eat sugar skulls, molds, and learn to respect that life is brief. They learn there is a circle to life and not to fear death, and then are free to enjoy and appreciate every moment.